Hello, welcome back for video 2 of our 3-part video series on how to lose fat and build muscle efficiently. If you remember in video 1, we talked about the problem with getting your exercise information through anecdotal evidence, which just means you're getting your exercise information from someone else who's seen good results. And remember that real problem with that is everyone's a little bit different. And so if you just do what your coworker is doing for their diet or exercise because they've seen good results, or you're just doing what your favorite Instagram influencer is doing because they look great and you want to look like them too, it's not the best way to get your exercise and nutrition advice. We always want to lean on the scientific evidence. We always want to lean on what has the research shown is the safest, most effective way to exercise where we can still be really efficient, right? Because as I talked about with my story, the thing that happens after you enter your profession, after you start a family, is you start to kind of not prioritize your exercise as much. There's so much else going on that you kind of put your exercise on the back burner, and then you become a sedentary person. You stop engaging in exercise, or maybe you just stop engaging in proper exercise, or maybe you've never known about how to do proper exercise. And so that's what this video series is really all about. And so what we're going to talk about today is just why people really struggle to lose fat and build muscle. What are the biggest constraints that we have? And we already talked about time in the first video. So what I want to talk about today is about just being discouraged because you don't know exactly how to perform exercise, or you don't know, or you think you have to spend a certain amount of time in the gym and you just feel like you don't have that much time, so you become a sedentary individual, right? You're just discouraged because what you've done in the past hasn't worked. You feel like you don't have time, or you feel like you don't know what to do for exercise. And then you become sedentary. And I just want to share a recent study that I read about. It was just really about all-cause death, and it followed 120,000 people over the course of 8.5 years. So it was a very large study. It was a very long study, and it just studied all-cause death. And what this study did is it just categorized people based on their activity level. So there was a group that was people that was just completely sedentary, and then there was groups that were elite athletes. So they were doing exercise to the level of an elite athlete, and kind of everything in between. And all of these individuals in this study were age 55 and higher. Okay, and so they followed these people for 8.5 years, and they just tracked, how many people passed away. And what they found was about 25% of the people who ended up passing away fell into the category of sedentary. And what they were able to conclude from the study was that it was more dangerous, it was more likely you would die if you were sedentary than if you were in the active group while also being a cigarette smoker. Which, I just want that to sink in for a second, meaning it's healthier to be active and smoke cigarettes than it is to be sedentary, okay? So we know there's a big problem with being sedentary, and maybe you're sedentary for a myriad of reasons that I've already laid out. But if you take nothing else out of this video series, it's you need to be active in some way. It's too risky to be sedentary. And I don't think anyone's going to debate that, right? We all know that exercise is healthy, but the problem is we don't know how to do it in a time-efficient and effective way. So I look forward to sharing with you how you can overcome some of these constraints. The next thing I want to talk about in this video is the opposite of being sedentary, and that's what we call overtraining. And so most of you are going to fall into the sedentary category, but some of you haven't seen results because you're actually exercising too much. Right? One of my favorite things to say is exercise is medicine, and that's very true. Exercise can help us become healthier in many ways. But we know if you don't take medication that you're prescribed, that's not good, right? You're not going to be optimal health. But if you take too much of the medication that you're prescribed, that's not good either. That's very counterproductive. And the same can be said for exercise. Exercise is just a stimulus on our body, and we have to allow our body to recover from exercise before we engage in exercise again. So if we're exercising too much, meaning if you're exercising an hour a day, 5 days a week, or 6 days a week, that's too much. You're not allowing your body to actually recover from your workouts, and therefore you're not going to see results either. So just like people who are sedentary aren't going to see any results, of course, people who are training too much, people who are exercising too often, aren't going to see results either. So we want to think about what is the optimal amount of exercise to actually get the result I want, but do it in a way where I can maintain exercise over the long term, where I can maintain exercise without having time be my constraint. And that's where the scientific evidence comes into play. There's just tons of evidence lately that has shown us that we can strength train, we can exercise for as little as 1 hour a week and still receive all the benefits from that exercise has to offer. And so that's what I really want this video series to lay out for you is how can we not be sedentary? How can we engage in healthy exercise long term without burning ourselves out? Okay, and I'm going to get into a lot of details in video 3. So if you're excited and you want that video 3 right away, just feel free to send us an email and I'll personally send you the 3rd video that will dive deep in how do we actually achieve these results? How do we maintain exercise over the long term without time being our constraint? In the meantime, if you're interested in trying a free 45-minute introductory workout with Reformed Fitness so you can feel how an evidence-based approach to exercise feels, then please head to our website, click in the top right corner to get started and schedule that free 45-minute introductory workout as soon as possible. I look forward to meeting you all soon.